Good morning, my name is Dawn Kennedy, and I'm an ESL team lead in the Hardin County Schools. And the ESL program stands for English as a Second Language. There are 5 million ESL students in the United States, 22,000 in Kentucky, and 350 in Hardin County Schools. And the purpose of the program is to support students who speak a different language at home and English at school to be able to access learning through speaking, listening, reading, and writing. There is a Kentucky educator named Georgella Lyon, and she's also an author. And she created this national level project because she noticed that students needed support in celebrating diversity and beauty of other cultures, and to just understand and get in touch with their own roots and heritages, since we're the melting pot, a nation of immigrants. And so it's just a series of questions that's very adaptable. For example, we created our own graphic organizers for younger students that was very simplified. And then we graduated up to the full for our older students. And so it's just been a beautiful thing to see the students share who they are. Many of the items that you see here today were loaned to us by Mexican restaurants. So we'd like to give a huge muchas gracias to Los Nopales, El Acapulco, Mi Jalisco, and Mexico Lindo for the beautiful items, and also for the ESL students and their families who brought things from their homes for us to share their beautiful culture. This is Bradley Hernandez Garcia, and one of the things that he wrote about is molcajete, which are these pottery bowls here, and you can use them to make guacamole. This is Neymar. Can you look over here? This is Neymar Lucas. And Neymar wrote about Loteria, which is this Mexican bingo game here that comes with a deck of cards, and you can play the cards, and he also wrote about molcajete. This is Josue Quesada, and Josue wrote about cooking tortillas on a comal, and if you'll follow me over here, we have a picture of a lady who is cooking tortillas on a comal. This is Isabella Avendano. Her family is from Mexico and El Salvador. In her story, Where I Am From, she wrote about beautiful clothing from Mexico and El Salvador. And here you can see our family. This is the Papi, our father, with the embellished charro shirt. And you can see the beautiful Jalisco dress here, a sombrero, and the embellished vestida, and she is also wearing clothing from El Salvador today. So we're excited to share with you about Hispanic Heritage Month. This is Edgar Rosales. His family is from Mexico and Guatemala, right? Guatemala, and he wrote about a lot of interesting things, but one of them was the Mexican flag, and he made a beautiful illustration of the green, white, and red, and the eagle eating a snake, to show that Mexico can fight to be safe, but they can also have peace, symbolized by the green plants underneath. And so there's beautiful items. There's a beautiful sombrero here. This is Sofia Romero, and she wrote about maracas, and she wants to show you how to play them. Can you show us how to play them? Show us how you shake them. Oh, good job. This is Isabella Romero, and she wrote about eating tacos, which a lot of us have tried and enjoyed. And these little baskets here are a place that a lot of our families keep these on their tables, and they keep their tortillas warm in there for tacos, burritos, enchiladas, many wonderful foods that they eat. So thank you, Isabella, for your great work. This is Isamar Enriquez Ruiz. Her family is from very southern Mexico near the Guatemalan border. And in Mexico, there are many silver mines, and they have beautiful jewelry. And so she wrote about some of the beautiful jewelry, turquoise, and other stones that they have in Mexico. Our students were very reluctant overall. Most of them had shared about teasing about an accent or sharing an experience or maybe a language mistake that they made in the classroom. And so they felt very shy, and many of them just wanted to blend in and try to be invisible or very hidden. And so what happened, this project has just really transformed our students. I don't think that is too strong of a word. They have come to realize that it's okay to talk about our differences and celebrate those, and their confidence has increased so much, and it's really exciting. And the other students at first, I don't know if they thought maybe it was going to be boring or something like that, but this morning teachers have been sharing with us, my students were silent, they were fascinated, they were riveted, they've been asking questions. So I think it's really ignited a spark, and in many of our classrooms we ask students, what's your heritage? You know, if you're not 100% Native American, your family immigrated from somewhere. And so I think there's this whole mindset shift that's happening. Okay, now this is Jenalise and Katie. They've been leading us. And Jenalise, can you tell us what that means in English?
Cow, head, and tail.
Thank you. So that's a typical nursery rhyme that a lot of our children learn when they're small. Okay, ladies, you can go back. Now we want to show you some of the awesome things that we have here. We have the flags from every nation that speaks Spanish hanging here. And we have a beautiful display. Okay, so we're going to talk to you about our beautiful artifacts. So my Puerto Ricans, Jorge, do you want to tell us about the top row?
My family is from Puerto Rico, and I went there this summer. This is a maraca, and you play that with music, and in the back there is a guido, and you can play that with a stick. And the back tower is of the army. It's really old, and Puerto Rico is a big island, and they used to use that to shoot guns to the other people that came to destroy them.
So these are the three kings there, and you go into your house, like in the living room or something, and you put out grass so the camels could eat the grass. And when you wake up tomorrow morning, you get presents from all these three kings.
These two bowls called mocohete, and you use them to make guacamole, and I wrote a story about it.
Some people wear these big hats. It's called a sombrero, and Mexico is close to the equator. Mexicans wear those big hats to cover them from the hot sun because it's really hot in there.
I am from Mexico. We have many silver mines. We have artists that make beautiful jewelry. They use turquoise and other stones.
The Mexican flag is not red, white, and blue. It is green, white, and red. It has an eagle. It has an eagle and eating a snake to show we can fight, and it has branches to show we have peace.
So this is a loteria, and all of this is for Mexican kids that can play with it. We use a loteria like a bingo Mexican game, and we use for kids like juice, and when like the person that loses does a dare or something. This book is about Messi, and Mexican people know about it and love him. The soccer ball is loved for Mexicans because sometimes we wake up in the morning and play soccer, or in the night we play soccer in the road.
When I get a drink, I don't usually get a Coke. I go to a Mexican grocery store to get jarrito and sangria, grape juice, and banana soda, and Monta India.
Takis are special, like chips, like Cheetos, like spicy, and the other ones are just like regular candy, but from Mexico.
This is the coffee maker, so you put coffee in the quad bag and you put hot water through it, and then and it makes a cup of cafe latte. And Miss Kennedy got this at Costa Rica.
This is masa. It's made out of corn. Hispanics use it for making tamales. It will have chicken, pork, and salsa in it.
This is a muñeca. It's doll in Spanish. She's wearing a zarape, and she has a beautiful flower in her hair.
This is a lady who making tortillas and a comal, and my mom does tortillas too. In Spanish, we count in different ways. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is traditional clothing. This is a camisa that my dad would wear. This is a dress that un vestido that my mom would wear. This is another vestido that my sister would wear. I have a camiseta that has Nicaragua sewing.
ESL community, a lot of times we notice that our parents can also be a little reluctant or shy to come into the school, or school systems can be so different in other nations, so maybe they're just not sure what to expect. Sometimes there's a language barrier, transportation barrier, other things. And with writing the book and also with celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month, our parents have just had an outpouring of gratitude and excitement, and it's touched them in ways that I did not expect. I learned so much about my students in doing this project. Some of them were not really sure how to even express or think about what they wanted to say, and so we did some research. They interviewed their families at home. Some of them called back to their home countries and spoke to relatives there. And it's just been incredible to see these students that maybe we perceive them as needing help, or maybe having a deficit in language or some kind of situation that we can support, to seeing them from a different perspective of their strengths, their resilience, this incredible rich cultural diversity that they bring to us to add to. And it's just been, my respect for my students has increased exponentially. As part of our Hispanic Heritage Month celebrations, we have two very special activities. One, our students wrote about their heritage stories in this book, and so next Wednesday they're going to go around and read their stories wearing traditional dress, and students are going to be bringing traditional foods from Spanish-speaking countries for their friends to sample and try. And then the Friday before spring break, we're going to have an assembly, and we'll have the director of the Americana Community Center in Louisville is coming to speak to us. The salsa tenor from Fort Knox is coming to sing, and then we have a beautiful dance troupe that includes some of our moms from this school. So we're really excited. Thank you very much.
And this book was actually published, and people can purchase copies, right?
Yes, this book is available in the Hardin County Public Libraries in Radcliffe and Elizabethtown. My name is Dawn Kennedy. I am an English teacher at New Highland Elementary and some other schools, okay? And I teach kids who have a special gift. They can speak more than one language. Okay, that's my job, and I love my job. And these boys and girls are here today because, number one, they speak Spanish and English. Number two, they are published authors and illustrators. So last year, my students wrote a book, and it's called Where I Am From. And you can check this out in the New Highland Library, the Hardin County Public Library in Radcliffe and E-Town. They bought books from us to share with our county. Muchas gracias. Okay, thank you. And so they're going to share their illustrations and their writing with you today. Not all of them. I've chosen 3. Now, I have 2 new students that are 4th grade. And so I wanted to give them a chance to share. So Kati and Alexandra are going to read stories from some kids that went to Bluegrass, that graduated from last year, okay? So that they have a chance to share, because even though they didn't write in here, they can speak Spanish, okay? And they come from other countries. And so if you are not 100% Native American, you are not from the United States. Did you know that? So I love being American. My family was in the military all the way back, right? But my great-grandparents were born in Italy. They said hello or good morning like this, buongiorno. But about 100 or so years ago, about maybe 120 years ago, they put some grape plants in a little burlap bag and got on a ship and moved to the United States. Now, I've lived in other countries with the military, but I did not immigrate. I was still an American. But they changed from being Italian to being American, just like all of your families did somewhere. So these boys and girls, some of their grandparents immigrated, some of their parents immigrated, and some of them immigrated themselves. And you'll notice in Spanish-speaking countries, soccer is very, very popular. So if you're wearing soccer clothes, would you step forward? These gentlemen are wearing soccer clothes. They call it football because don't you kick it with your foot? It's different than ours. Okay, you can step back. If you're wearing native dress, can you step forward? So Edgar's also wearing a vest from Guatemala. Ladies, step forward. You see the beautiful embroidery, which is typical of many South American countries and Central Americans. Step back. And then gently step forward. Just like the United States, our First Nations people are Native American or Indian. And many of the Spanish, Genelisa's families from Puerto Rico, and they also have Native Americans, different from us, different tribes, different names. They don't say Cherokee and Apache. They say something else. Take your hands down, sweetheart. And so she is wearing Native American dress to show that some of these children have ancestors or family people in their family tree that were Native American. Okay? So we're going to start with Kati, and she's going to share with you a story from a boy named Dominic, who also speaks Spanish, and he wrote about living in Guatemala, which is also where your family came from, right? Okay.
I am from a woven jute backpack, a sombrero, and Guatemalan cowboy boots. I am from concrete block houses and frijoles negros. From Papi and Abuelito, I am from weekend trips to McDonald's, going to the laundromat, and watching Transformers with Papi. I am from Stick with good friends and don't get in. Trouble at school. I am from Kentucky and Guatemala. I am from tortillas and avocados. I am from a painting of a horse hanging on the wall. I am from the story of my dad using his shoe as a motorcycle brake so he could visit a young lady.
Has anybody in your family ever tried to fix things some kind of crazy way? My dad always does. We call him MacGyver. So that was wonderful, Kati. Thank you so much. So this is Alexandra, and she is going to read a story. And is your family from Mexico? That's what I thought. And so she's going to read a story from a boy whose family is from Mexico, but also Nicaragua. And some of the things that she's going to talk about, we have in our cases out here, so we'll talk about that in just a minute.
I am from
Posadas,
and
Nicaragua.
Nicaragua. I am from the tangy smell of lime. I am from the spicy peppers, the chili plants, and making tamales. I am from watching football, a bull, a mama, and papa. I am from respect others and work hard. I am from arroz con frijoles and paso. I'm from Mexico.
Nicaragua. Or Nicaragua, we say in English. Very good job. Okay, so if you look in our cases out there, you're going to see a football. It's not red. It's not shaped like this, right? There's no touchdown. I said football. And so it's a soccer ball and a famous player called Lionel Messi. And he's from Argentina, which is a Spanish-speaking country, famous for their steak. And so that's out there. And also you will see many chilies hanging in the cases because much of the food from these countries is prepared a little bit spicy with some chili in it. Okay, great job, ladies. And now we have whom? Who's our third reader? Okay, let's have Christian read because he hasn't done it yet. Christian is a 5th grader here at New Highland, and he's also from Mexico. His cousin was the story that Conti just read, okay, because sometimes families immigrate together. Do you all know what countries your families came from? Whose family came from Africa? Some of you, your family came from Africa, and we're going to celebrate that in February. Did anybody's family come from England? They don't even know. Oh, there's one. Okay, tonight, I don't know, can you look? When you go home, I want you to ask your mom, what other countries did we come from when our family immigrated to the United States? Okay, it might have been a long, long time ago, but can you find your story, babe? But you can ask them about that. This is Christian Aguero Romero, and his mom bought me a shirt kind of like Allison's and Mariana's to wear this week, so that was very sweet of her. I was very thankful for that. Okay, go ahead.
I am from a red and white and green blanket, Bobbitail and bar soap chips. I am from a huge blue house with the inner courtyard. I am from many brothers, FIFA, football, and I am from mango trees, pepper plants, and Las Posadas. I am from Mexico.
Does anybody know what Las Posadas is? So in another class, we talked about part of the Christmas celebration. So these kids get gifts twice, on Christmas and on Three Kings Day. So we talked about that. That's on January 6th. So I told them I was going to become a Spanish speaker so I could have 2 Christmases. But another thing they do is called Las Posadas, and it means like, kind of like the hotel or the inn. And so they reenact or they act out the Christmas story, and they go to people's house and knock on the door and ask them if they can come in. And they start in the beautiful center of town, like the park, kind of like if we went to Freeman Lake all together and we brought lanterns at night. Do you do it on Noche Buena or when? Yeah, Noche Buena is what they call Christmas Eve. It means the good night. And so they have lanterns, and they walk all through the town, and like I would go to your house and be like, tell me no, okay? Do you have any room?
No.
And then I go to her, do you have any room?
No.
And then I go to her, do you have any room? And everybody keeps saying no, and we're all together with our lights going to all these houses, kind of like we would go Christmas caroling, right? And then when you get to the very last place, then they say, yes, come in, and they give you food. And so it's a celebration, like a big fiesta, a party. And so that is part of the tradition. So that's why he read, I'm from Las Posadas, right? Okay? And so if you don't understand how that's a part of the Christmas story, maybe you can ask one of your friends and they can help you know that, or your mom and dad. Okay? Yes?
Is one of those kids, can they speak every
They can speak Spanish and English. Now, I have students in this school who can speak Thai, who can speak Gujarati, who can speak Hindi, who can speak Indian, who can speak Chamorro, who can speak Native Hawaiian, who can speak Arabic, who can speak Egyptian Arabic. I have a lot of different, I have students who can speak Hangul, which is Korean. I have students who can speak Chinese. But these students only speak, well, I think, Spanish and English. Okay? So I'm going to teach you a little bit of Spanish. Let's tell them thank you very much. You probably know thank you is gracias, but let's practice thank you very much. Muchas gracias. It means like much thanks. Okay, ready? Muchas gracias. Now listen, and they're going to tell you you're welcome. Okay? All right, and then Abby. Okay, so she's going to read a story by another student, so I'm going to help her if she gets stuck. And this boy, his family came from Mexico and Nicaragua. Okay? And this is Abigail Felix.
I am from the tangy smell of milk. I am from the spicy peppers, the chili plant, and making wine. I am from watching football, a girl, mama, and papa. I am from respect others and work. I am from photos and feelings, and I am from Mexico.
Okay, good job. That's hard to read somebody else's writing. And in Spanish-speaking families, they eat a special soup on Christmas. And so this boy drew the soup. It's called pozole, and the soup's inside here with all kinds of vegetables. And this part is the beautiful decorated pottery. And you can see a lot of that beautiful pottery in our cases.
It's pozole.
You say it.
Pozole.
Pozole. See, my kids help teach me, so I get to learn a lot of things too. Okay, so Edgar's gonna start nice and slow and loud and share with us.
I am from a red, white, and green flag, hot Takis, and Valentina hot sauce. I am from the dirt floors, terrors, the people who work many hours a day. I am from making our own games, the small people list. I am from lemon trees, mango trees. I am from always using the lantern and singing when I'm cooking. I am from the same Puerto again, and the amo hijo. I am from believing in Jesus in La Familia. I am from crossing the border with a newborn baby. I am from the food like tamales, queso, and in the day that my mom's sister died from high blood pressure. I am from Guerrero, Mexico, and Sumigo, Guatemala.
Okay, how many of you have a mom and dad that sometimes tell you, be good, we're going to grandma's, you better say please and thank you, be good. So one of the things he said is, I am from the same portate bien, and in Spanish that means be good. So his mom says that to him too, just in another language, just like you. Come here, Axl. This is Axl Ornelas Zaragoza, and can I show them your shirt, sir? Would that be okay? Okay, in Spanish-speaking countries, you see some of my ladies are wearing clothes here from their own countries, but in Spanish-speaking countries, soccer, which is called football, right? Because don't you kick a soccer ball with your foot too? Called football is very, very, very important. And many of the Mexican restaurants in Elizabethtown have soccer teams, and they all play each other. And they watch soccer on TV, and they know all the players, just like your family might watch the Wildcats or Louisville or something like that. Basketball or football. These families, soccer is very serious. and they know all the players and which teams they love. So that's why Axl is wearing a soccer shirt. And so he is going to read his story. This is not your story, handsome. Okay, Jenalise, do you have yours ready? Okay, we're going to switch. This is Jenalise Nieves, and her family is from a beautiful island called Puerto Rico. It's kind of like Hawaii with beaches, palm trees, ocean, right? And a long time ago, a country called Spain used to live there and kind of take it over like the British did to us. And so that's why everybody speaks Spanish. And a lot, do we have Native Americans that were the first Americans here in the United States? The first people who lived here were Native Americans, weren't they? Well, in a lot of Spanish-speaking countries, the first people who lived there were also Native Americans. But they were different tribes. They weren't the Cherokee and the Apache and things that we know about. They had different tribes with different names. And so Jenalise is dressed like this because from her country, some of her ancestors were Native American, okay? But not United States Native American from those Spanish-speaking countries, okay?
I am from a tree with a Spanish bus. Turquoise, Julie, and Puerto Rico. I am from bright colored houses, sitting for hours while mommy braids my hair. I am from saying bendición to everyone as they come in the house and music of God in the house. I am from tropical breezes and palm trees by the beach by Jenalise.
And show them your illustration. And who is that?
My grandma.
My grandma, she calls her abuelita. Okay, I call my grandma Nona because my family came from Italy, right? She calls her abuelita, and she's wearing beautiful turquoise jewelry. And her grandmother actually designed the case in the foyer that's for Puerto Rico. She designed that and made where the pineapple is, you know, on that side, because they can grow pineapples there, just like Hawaii does. And so her grandma came up to our school and designed that whole case so you could enjoy that. Okay, thank you so much, Jenalise. Okay, now this is Axl Hernandez Zaragoza. His family is from Mexico, and some of the things he's going to talk about are out in the case, so I'll tell you when he gets done what you can see. Okay? Yes, sir.
I'm from Pianta Mexicana. I am from bright yellow rectangle houses. I am from watching football in Spain. I am from my mom saying I smell smoke. I am from a smoky kitchen. I am from bright red, blue, and pink paper flowers in saguaro cactus.
Good job. Okay, let's show him your illustration. Okay, so he said that I am from Molcajete, and this is something you can make guacamole in, which is made out of avocado, and this is his illustration. In the foyer above the big blue sombrero on the top are two molcajete. Usually they have an animal head, but ours don't, but they do have 4 feet, and they have flowers on them, and Los Nopales let us borrow those, the restaurant. And then he said, I am from playing Loteria Mexicana, and that means Mexican bingo. And if you look by the soda and candy in the foyer, you can see this big poster with pictures on it, and it's a bingo game, and you draw a card, and then you match it, and if you get a whole row, just like bingo, then you win. And usually people from Spanish-speaking countries play for money, like little change or something like that, and it's really fun for them. Okay, and then he said, I am from watching football in Espanol, and remember that's soccer, and if you see in the case there's a soccer ball, and you might have thought, wow, why is there a soccer ball? Because that's a very important sport in Spanish-speaking countries, And there's a book next to it about Lionel Messi called, how do you say it in Spanish? Lionel or something. Lionel Messi. And he's a world famous, he's sometimes called the best soccer player in the whole world. And there's a book about him and a picture and you can see that. Okay. Jeriel's family is from Puerto Rico. And he went there this summer. And it's like a beautiful island with beaches and oceans and palm trees. And he got to see all of his aunties and uncles and cousins when he flew on an airplane to go there. Okay, and he's going to read you a story about it. And he talks about the Puerto Rican flag, and you can see the Puerto Rican flag in the case out there if you go out front today. Okay?
I am from Ashley, Lakey, Pastelillos, and Linda Politas. I am from the Puerto Rican flag. I am from Gatria. I am from Puerto.
Okay, he's from a game, he said, I am from a game called playing El Gato y Ratón. That means cat and mouse. And so it's kind of like playing tag. Do you play tag? Yeah. And then he's going to show you. See, this is the Puerto Rican flag, and you can see, do you want to stand up so they can see? This is the Puerto Rican flag. You can see it in the foyer. And these are a yummy food called pastelillos. It's kind of like a little fried pie, but it has yummy meat or cheese, right? Is that what you told me? Okay, wonderful. Now, one of your classmates, did you know that you had a published author in your class? Great job, baby. Okay, Sophia wrote a story in the book, and her family is from Mexico and from Nicaragua. And can you take off your jacket for us for a minute? And these girls are actually twins. Did you know that? This is Isabella and Sophia. And sometimes, okay, they're wearing clothes that are sewn. You can sit down here, baby. You get to be the teacher for a little bit. So Sophia wrote a story in this book, and she's an author and an illustrator, isn't she? Okay? And her sister is going to help her if she needs help. Loud, loud.
I am from Delicious Pupusas, Yellow Vestidos, and Moradas, and I will remember that.
Very nice. Okay, so one of the things she put in here says, I am from Yellow Vestidos. So, Mariana, can you stand up? In Spanish, vestida means dress, and so she has a yellow one at her house that's beautifully sewn like that, and so she talked about that. And then who knows what maracas are? Can you show us your illustration? Thank you, Sophia. She drew these maracas, and it has like little, I don't know what it is, like beans or, go ahead.
Little balls that, and then you shake them, and then they make little.
It's kind of like a rattle, but it's not for a baby, it's for music. So it's like, right? And so we have some of these in the foyer over by the kids' toys in that section where the soda and candy is. And then we have some up in the top of the Puerto Rican side. Okay? So would you all like to know how to say thank you to your friends in Spanish? Okay, listen. Muchas gracias. Okay, let's try it together. Muchas gracias. And these boys and girls are going to say, and we have lots of stories in this book, so you can read those in our library. Thank you. Now this is your classmate, Josue, and his family came from Mexico and Honduras. Okay? And he's going to read a story, and, okay, nice and loud. And in his story, he's going to talk about some cooking. And we have, you know those big, pretty paintings of ladies we have in the foyer? Yeah. The one on the right side is cooking on what he's going to talk about, and she's making what he's talking about. So you see if you can listen for that part and tell us in a minute.
I am from Mouth Watering Proposals.
Nice and loud, baby.
On the command, I am from San Escalante. I am from Mexico and Honduras.
Good job. Isn't that a beautiful story? Did you hear the part where he was talking about heating something up? Read that part again for us, just that little sentence. I am from heating.
I am from heating tortillas on the command. I am from...
Okay, that's good. So raise your hand if you eat tortillas. Anybody like tacos, burritos, all that kind of stuff? Okay, put your hands down. We usually buy them at the grocery store, don't they? But some kids in these families make their own homemade tortillas and cook it on that pan called a comal that's in the picture in the foyer, and it tastes so good. You know how homemade cookies are better than store-bought cookies, right? And those homemade tortillas are delicioso. Okay. And so this is Bradley. His sister is in kindergarten in Miss Blauser's class. Did you know that? Anybody know Isabella over there? And so his family is from Mexico, and he's going to read a story to you today about being from Mexico.
I am from crispy tacos dorados and embellished charro outfits. I am from Mexican blankets with a bird on it. I am from Dia de los Muertos. I'm from Mexico.
Okay, show us your picture. So if you look in the foyer, which is the front part of the school, you'll see a lot of beautiful Mexican blankets, like hanging behind those paintings. Did you see those? Or on the little couch. And so he has one that has a beautiful bird on it. And it has those type of designs. How many of you have seen the movie Coco?
Me.
Okay. He didn't need to watch the movie Coco to learn about Dia de los Muertos, because in his family, that's a holiday they celebrate, right? So that is very good job. Thank you, Bradley. Okay, now this is Isabella Avendano. Her family is from Mexico and El Salvador. And both of those are kind of close to us in the United States, if you look at the whole world. Okay? And Isabella's mommy was a doctor in El Salvador. Did you know that? So that's pretty cool, huh? Okay, I didn't really talk about, but we have families that are very hard workers, and I'm so proud of all of them. Okay, so she's going to read you a story.
I am from
Nice and loud, princess.
And brightly colored Dia de los Muertos. I am from a colorful blue, yellow, and green Jalisco dress. I am from a cloth with a picture of my family. I am from Salvador and Mexico.
Very nice. Now show them your picture. That kind of reminds me of Coco. Remember when she had the little table with the pictures on it of her family and the flowers, and they sometimes wear the little mask? And if you look in the foyer, we have those kind of flags, don't we? Where the chairs and the couch are, those beautiful flags from Mexico. And also, how many of you have ever eaten at a restaurant in Elizabethtown called Mi Jalisco? Anybody? Jalisco is a part of Mexico, kind of like, I'm not from Kentucky, I'm from Missouri. So I might say, you know, I got this in Missouri, but Jalisco is a part of Mexico, and so they named their restaurant that. But it also, they have beautiful dresses with big ruffles that they use to dance, and so she wrote about that. Yes, ma'am.
So, do you guys
Yes.
Yes, she said yes. Okay, come and have a seat, baby. Oh, wait, did you already read yet in this group?
No.
No, okay. This is Mariana. Her family is from Mexico. And her mama is a pastor. And I forgot.
My dad is a pastor.
Okay. And so they did that. They can do that in Spanish. They can help people in Spanish. So that's really cool. So she's going to read a story, and some of the things she wrote about you can see in the foyer. So I'll tell you that in a minute. Okay?
I am from a jar of Mexican candy, Dominico and Josue. I am from Christmas flower Posadas, growing wild. I am from fresh squeezed limonada, many fiestas, mami papi. I am from watching football with my family, many summer sun inside helping adobe house. And believing in Jesus, I am from Mexico.
Okay. So let's talk about that for a minute. Did you see the piñatas up in the front? They're way, way, way up high. So fiesta is a party. And when you have a party and you speak Spanish, you probably have a piñata. And you fill it up with little candies and toys. And then you put on a blindfold. And then you hit it really hard with the bat. And people take turns until it breaks. And all the toys and candies fall out. And then everybody runs to get some. And sometimes I do that too, even though I don't speak Spanish. Because I think that's so fun. I wanted to try it. Okay, and in the foyer, you can see some of these Mexican candies that she was talking about, Tamarico and Duvalin. Okay, you can see it if you look by the soda and the chips. And then, how many of you use those red Christmas flowers at your house? Some of us celebrate Christmas. Yeah, I get mine at Lowe's, right? And they're usually like this big. In Mexico, they grow wild and they're taller than Miss Butler.
What?
It's like
Not very big, that's not.
a giant field of big red flowers, so beautiful. And a long time ago, the Mexican ambassador gave some of these as a present to the United States. And then we started using them for Christmas flowers because they're red and green, right? Go ahead, Neymar. And Neymar used to be in this class last year. Didn't he get so big? Yeah. Watch how he's going to read it. Yeah, we brought him just for you, Miss Ferguson. Okay, go ahead, sweetheart. Read to them.
I am from Tasty Thomas with queso and a red mocha latte. I am from playing a fun game of mocha date and the same is I am from Mexico.
Very good. Didn't he do a good job? Okay, so he said that he is from a red molcajete. And in our case, up at the very top in the middle, we have two molcajete, which a restaurant called Los Nopales let us borrow. And it's a thing, it looks like this, kind of. Ours is not an animal, it's a bowl with flowers. There's a red one and a blue one, and you can make guacamole in it. Does anybody like guacamole? And you need to. And you use this and you compound it. And then Neymar drew a picture. Did you see that sunshine? Do you know what page you're on, baby? This is a card from the game he was talking about. And if you look in the case by where soda and candy and chips and a doll is, did you see that? The doll in there? You can see a game like this, and it's Mexican bingo. So the game has a whole bunch of pictures, and if you have this one, you get to mark your space. And that's called loteria. Can you say loteria? Loteria. Very good. Okay, muchas gracias, Neymar. Okay, Jorge, I'm going to have you go next. Okay, this is Jorge. His family is from Puerto Rico. And so look at this cool hat. This is his dad's. And it has the Puerto Rican flag on it. Do you have a flag in here? And it looks kind of like the American flag. It's the same colors, isn't it? Is the pattern the same? No. And this summer, Jorge went to Puerto Rico, which is a beautiful island, kind of like Hawaii, with palm trees and pineapples and beautiful flowers. So he's going to read you a story about going to Puerto Rico.
I am from a Puerto Rican flag, conga drums, and chuleta. I am from a big white house by my dad. I am from the Coqui Frog singing in church, and many brothers and sisters. I am from Portate Bien and a happy family.
Okay, and he's going to show you the conga drums that he has, and these are real ones that he has, and they have the Puerto Rican flag on them, and he knows how to play those. He plays those at his church, and he doesn't just mess around with them. He knows how to play them really, really well. And he said something in here about a coqui frog. If you look in the case over where there's everything that's Puerto Rico on the left side, you can see a pretty plate, and it has a little coqui frog. Puerto Rico is very famous for that frog. And then raise your hand if your mom and dad tell you sometimes, be good, honey. Does anybody's mom tell you, be good? We're going to grandma's house, you better be good. You better say please and thank you. Do they say that? Well, this part where he said, I am from Portate Bien. Can you say that? Portate? Portate Bien. That's how you say be good in Spanish. So when his mom wants him to be good, she doesn't say be good, Jorge. She says, Portate Bien. That's what she says. Okay? Now we have one more reader. This is Isabella. Her sister, Sophia, used to be in here last year, but she's occupied, so we couldn't get her yet. So she's going to read, and her family is from Mexico and Nicaragua. You say it. How do you say it? Yeah, but how do you say it in Spanish? Nicaragua. Yeah, that's hard for Miss Kennedy's mouth. Okay, go ahead.
I'm from
Slow down.
and a big party for Navidad. I am from beautiful Mexican headband and clothes. I am from Mexico.
And you want to show them your clothes? So this is a beautiful Mexican dress called Jalisco. Has anybody ever eaten at the restaurant called Mi Jalisco? Jalisco is a part of Mexico. So it's kind of like if like Miss Kennedy would say, I'm from Missouri, right? That's my home state. I was not born in Kentucky. So she said that, and then if you're wearing clothes from your country, would you step up here to the front for a second? So isn't that so beautiful?
In the box, then click the arrow.
They have special sewing called embroidery. Can you see it? It's so pretty. And so, oh yeah, and he's wearing Puerto Rico on his shirt and his flag. So that's all we have. Thank you so much. This is the month to especially honor people who come from the 20 or 21 or 22 countries that speak Spanish. In February, we're going to celebrate people who came from Africa. And in May, we're going to celebrate people who came from Asia. Just 3 of us are going to share with you right now a story. So do you want to go first? So Allie, so when you're my student, you have to take a really hard test, brutal, every January. And if you make a really, really high score on it, you get to graduate from me, right? And Anna graduated from me, Edgar graduated from me, Allie, and Abigail, okay? But this book, almost all of these students are published authors and illustrators. So we have, let me see a hardcover. This book is available to check out in the new Highland Library and also in the Hardin County Public Libraries in Radcliffe and E-Town. They bought books from us to share with our community. Okay? And so these students are going to share their, are you a reader? Who's my readers in this class? Raise your hand. Yadiel, Isamar, and Allison. Okay, so These two actually wrote their selection, but since she was graduated, but she still was my student, she's going to read from one of last year's 5th graders that went to Bluegrass so that his story gets told too. Okay, is that all right? Okay, because I wanted her to participate because she's definitely Hispanic heritage. Excuse me. Okay, you want to go first?
I am from a woven filter backpack, a sombrero, and a Guatemalan cowboy boots. I am from a concrete block houses and frijoles negros. I am from Papi and Abuelito. I am from a weekend trips to McDonald's. Going to the laundromat and watching Transformers with Papi. I am from stick with good friends and don't get in trouble at school. I am from Kentucky and Guatemala. I am from tortillas and avocados. I am from a painting of a horse hanging on the wall. I am from the story of my dad using his shoe as a motorcycle brake so he could visit a young lady.
That was from Dominic. And so she's going to show you the illustration. And a lot of Spanish-speaking countries are famous for horses. And then his other illustration was this woven jute backpack. And so it's a backpack, but it looks like a basket. If you see it, it's woven like a basket would look. And it says Guatemala right here, and it has the Guatemalan flag. Okay? Very nice. Okay, this is Isamar Enriquez Ruiz. She's a 4th grader here at New Highland. And her family is from Mexico, which is Mexico. And she actually immigrated to the United States. Do you know what that means? Wow.
Wow.
Nobody's really known all day. Yes, sir.
Migrate.
Kind of like migrate or move, but like my family was military and I've lived in Korea, but I was still American. Even though I lived there 2 whole years, I didn't become Korean. I was still American. I was just living overseas, right? But immigrate is kind of like migrate, which is one of your vocabulary words, isn't it? But it's different in that you change. So instead, she was a Mexican citizen. She was born very far south in Mexico, almost Guatemala, right? And then she changed. And I want to say something. Her story is very powerful. It kind of makes me want to get a tissue when I hear it. Because how many of you have been far, far from home? Anybody?
Up in Tennessee.
I've lived in other countries across the whole ocean twice in my life, and I really got homesick a lot. When I was a little girl and I went to camp, I used to get homesick for my mom. Yeah, but imagine that you had to move to another country today, and imagine that you couldn't take any of your things. And imagine that whatever you're wearing right now is all you get to have with you. And imagine that when you get there, and I'm going to speak another language called Korean because I don't want them to understand me either, okay? Imagine that you get there and somebody's telling you what you need to do, and they say, 안녕하세요, 반갑습니다, 수고하셨습니다. Do you know what I want you to do? Do you know anything I said? So I want you to imagine yourself in that situation. Think about the things that are your favorite. Maybe it's a video game, maybe it's a picture of your grandpa, maybe it's a special book, you can't take it. All you have are the clothes you're wearing. You're going to change to another country and go there, and you're not going to be able to understand them when you get there. That's this young lady's story. So she's one of my heroes in this school, and many of my students are my heroes because they have really powerful stories of how much change and different things they've had to go through. So this is Isamar, and she still has some of her brothers and sisters that had to stay in Mexico because immigration cost an enormous amount of money. And so sometimes families have to do it a little bit at a time so they can afford it and save up more money. Okay? Nice and loud and slow, ma'am.
I am from pictures of the Mexica, Valentina hot sauce, and frijoles negros. I am from helping my mom cook rapid tamales rojas and the spicy smell of chorizo. I am from a roof covered with has growing mushrooms and fragrant pink carnations. I am from Mommy and Papi. Arguing with much love and everyone cooking. I am from praying to God and sitting out a meal when He turns me on Christmas.
Okay, and she's going to show you your illustration. So you'll see two tables with a laptop on them. Let's hold it up high, baby. And here is Isamar and her mom, and this says, my old Kentucky home. And then this looks like it's right there, but this is like 1,000 or more miles away, are 4 of her brothers and sisters, and the sign in their house says Viva Mexico. And what do you see going through the airwaves? They're using a video call so they can see each other and talk to each other. And what do you see going through the airwaves? Hearts, which means love. So sometimes families have to stay close in different ways. And she immigrated with the clothes on her back. And then tell us about this picture. Yeah, and so it's like a homemade cornbread dough, and then you mash it out, and you put meat and spices, and you can put cheese. You can serve it with green salsa or red salsa, and then you wrap it in a corn husk, and you steam it, and it is delicious. And I think if you're in 5th grade, Edgar brought some tamales from his house, so a little later he can cut off some pieces and maybe let you try it, and it is delicious, delicious. I made some for the first time because my students taught me, and my family devoured them. They were gone. Okay, so our next reader is going to be Yadiel Mejia, and his family is from an island like Hawaii. It has palm trees, beaches, coconuts, pineapples, beautiful flowers. And if you look in the display case out there, you'll see a whole section that's just for Puerto Rico because we have a lot of Puerto Rican students at this school. Okay, and so he's going to share his story with you. And when he gets done, we're going to stop because he's going to talk about something called Three Kings Days. Because if you speak Spanish, you get to have Christmas twice, which is so not fair. So we're going to all kind of tell you a little bit about that before we go. Okay, go ahead. Nice and loud, friend. Slow down.
I'm from the Morocco, though disgusting. I'm from putting out grass to the cows. I am from Mariana. I'm from Empanada. I'm from the homework I'm from
Okay, great. And show us your illustration. And he redrew that several times. Isn't that awesome? And if you look in the Puerto Rican case in the top left, there are tropical flowers that grow in Puerto Rico, and one of them is the yellow hibiscus. Okay? And so Three Kings Day. So what do you all, it's on January 6th, so they have normal Christmas like we did. Did you hear him say, I'm from Feliz Navidad? You probably know that song, right? Feliz Navidad, right? Merry Christmas or Happy Christmas in Spanish. But they celebrate on January 6th. It's also called Epiphany, but it's called Three Kings Days. So tell us about Three Kings Days. What do you do on Three Kings Days, students?
You put out grass and water for the chickens. And
so stop right there. Who puts out milk and cookies for Santa? Anybody? Or when you were little, you did. Okay, so instead of putting out milk and cookies for Santa, so there's part of the Christmas story is that 3 kings saw a star in the east, got on camels, and rode them a long, long way and brought presents to the baby Jesus. I am definitely a believer in being a lifelong learner, that as an educator and a teacher, I've been in education, this is my 28th year, and you very much have to model that learning, that desire, that drive, and that passion, and I love that. But my students teach me so many things. They teach me their languages. I always try to learn to at least do the greeting in every language of my students so that I can greet their families in their home language. They teach me vocabulary and words. We find connections to their home languages, to vocabulary we're learning in the classroom. They teach me about cultural diversity or cultural norms and what's appropriate. Sometimes they'll say, Ms. Kennedy, no, you can't do that, or you can't say that. And so I love the things that I'm learning, but most of all what I learn from them is their incredible strength, because to come into a school and be put in a position to learn academic content in a language that's not your heart language or your first language is a pretty daunting task, and their perseverance, their strength, their work ethic is incredible, and they inspire me to get out of bed every morning and to do what I do.
I'm going to let you see the routine, and if you think you're picking it up, then you can stand up to do it. We won't film it until we have an opportunity for everybody to have seen the video. This first one was taped in a classroom. They were taught by an instructor. They're going to do 2 repetitive motions, and once you think you pick it up, now this group here is going to be doing this if you're over here off camera. So you'll be trying to pick it up as well.
Well, doing the Heritage Months has been a big goal. Obviously, I want my students to grow, to gain knowledge in academics and in English language learning. I want them to be literate in their home language, to learn to read and write and not just speak. But a big focus that we have here at New Highland this year, we've done this Hispanic Heritage Month, and that has been such a boost for my students, and they feel honored and loved and wanted and a part of everyone. And in February, we're going to, when we do Black History Month, we've traditionally focused on issues like slavery and abolition and civil rights and those kinds of things. But I was able to spend some time in West Africa as a young woman and teach English in a high school there. And so we're going to have some things that really teach them about African culture. I have some African friends in the area who are going to come in and do some dance and other art forms with us. And then in May, we have Asian and Pacific Islander Month, and that pretty much covers the rest of my students. And we're going to focus on those Chinese, Korean, Japanese students that we may have, as well as the great variety of Arabic speakers from different nations that we have, and the Pacific Islands as well. We have students here who speak Native Hawaiian and Chamorro. We have an Indian student who is trilingual, who speaks Thai, Indian, and English. And she's learning Spanish now because of some of her friends in her classroom. And so really going to highlight those cultures as well and let them share. We're hoping to have a hula group come in and do some dance with us. And then we have a teacher in our building. Our STEAM teacher is Palestinian from Bethlehem, Israel. And she's going to bring a group of friends and do some traditional Arabic dance with us. And hopefully we can just sample and try and make a display here that shares furniture and art and tapestries and pottery and all of those things. And just our students often don't know a lot about the world. They haven't been a lot of places. And this is really opening their minds to our global world.
You all know that I promised to sing to you, right? Mm-hmm. So I like music a lot, I upped the ante. Instead of just singing, I brought my ukulele. This is a tenor ukulele. It is a little bigger than the regular one. And ukulele comes from Hawaii.
I've got a guitar. Hawaii. From Hawaii.
Hawaii.
Hawaii. Hawaii. Is it Hawaii?
That's how you say Hawaii in Hawaiian, is Hawaii.
Hawaii. Like a Hawaiian pizza.
So, my ukulele and I, we are going to be doing a concert for you. You can do sign language clapping. So, and because I am an overachiever, I'm going to sing and I'm going to play. And some of you might recognize something a little different. Hold on.
You're gonna think it's like where's gonna watch you?
Okay, your pet can watch me. So, because this month is Hispanic Heritage Month, I'm going to start out with a special song that I really like. De colores se visten los campos en la primavera. De colores son las pajaritas que vienen de fuera. De colores es el arco iris que vemos lucir. Y por eso los grandes amores de muchos colores me gustan a mí. Y por eso los grandes amores de muchos colores me gustan a mí. Canta el gallo con el kiri, 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 kiri. La gallina con el cara, 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 cara. Los polluelos con el pío, 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 pío. Y por eso los grandes amores de muchos colores te gustan a mí. Y por eso los grandes amores de muchos colores me gustan a mí. So, one cool thing about an ukulele, it's also a drum. It works really well like a drum.
maybe. That's a good idea.
Please touch the guitar.
If somebody asks me again to touch the ukulele before the end of the concert, then nobody gets to touch it. Got it?
Yeah, and she doesn't get to.
Oh, I'm gonna sing, because I prepared this whole concert for you guys. You see the part that was just for you and Jamil?
Yeah.
Okay. Your mom helped me with that one.
Really?
The next one, because I know there are people in here whose families long ago, or maybe not so long ago, came from Germany.
My brother was born in Germany. I was Hawaii.
So, I've got a song, but I'm not going to sing if you're talking. I'm not going to sing if you're talking. So there is an Italian word called a cappella that people use in music to mean without instruments. I'm going to sing this one a cappella.
I know.
So, this is one, it's a song my dad taught me when I was a kid. Because I have German in my ancestry too. It's Drei Gänse im Haberstroh saßen da und da sie froh kommt der Bauer gegangen mit einem langen Stangen. Ruht, wer dort, wer dort, wer dort. Drei Gänse im Haberstroh. Ash grove, how graceful, how plainly 'tis seeking. The wind through its blade has language for me. Whenever the light through its branches is breaking, a host of kind faces is waiting for me. The friends of my childhood again are before me. Each step brings a memory as freely I roam. With soft whispers laden, the leaves rustle o'er me. The ash grove, alone is my home. That song is a part of my heritage. Like really my heritage. The other song, my dad did teach me that one, yes, but this one, this is from England, and my family is from Germany and England, or Welsh, it's Welsh, but in the British Isles. And it was the first song, like the real song. You know when you learn to play an instrument, you've got Mary had a little lamb. People learn that a lot. Oh. This was the first real song that I learned on violin. And so it was part of me with you guys. Now, I've got another one. This song comes from South Africa.
South Africa? Isn't that where like Jordan
is kind of next to Jordan. You just cross go into Egypt and down, and there's Africa. Egypt is a country. So, this song is from South Africa. It's in the Zulu language. I looked it up. Zulu. That's the name of a language in Africa, in South Africa. My godkids are from Hawaii. Well, they're not from Hawaii. Their nationality is from Hawaii. Their dad lived in Hawaii. And this song is very special to them. It was written by the last queen of Hawaii before Hawaii joined the United States.
Where's Waldo?
Sit down, sweet.
I have to key it in the right key.
I love this.
A lot of you might recognize this if you've watched Lilo and Stitch.
Charming one.
Always be yourself, because everybody else is taken.
Adios!